Have you ever heard a man say, "Everything feels fine, I'm healthy," but then, just months later, he's hit with a diagnosis he never saw coming? Prostate problems rarely show up with a neon sign, and that's exactly why they're so dangerous. You think you're okay, but right now, this very moment, your body might be trying to warn you. Subtle, almost invisible clues, things you brush off as just getting older. But what if I told you one of the most dangerous signs is so common you'd never even suspect it was linked to prostate swelling? And what if the seventh sign on this list is the one almost every man ignores until it's too late? If you're a man over 40, or love someone who is, you cannot afford to miss this, because by the end of this video, you'll be able to recognize 10 signs that your prostate might already be inflamed and understand exactly what to do about it. So stick with me, because this could save you years of discomfort or even your life. Before we dive in, take 2 seconds and hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about helping you stay in control of your health with real facts and real talk. Now, let's get into it. Let's start here. You might not think much of waking up once at night to go to the bathroom, maybe twice. But what happens when it starts creeping up to 3 times, then 4? At first, it feels like a minor inconvenience. You tell yourself it's just stress, or maybe you drank too much water before bed. But here's the truth. If you're waking up multiple times at night to urinate, especially if it's interrupting your sleep, your body's sending a signal. And one of the most common culprits? Prostate inflammation, technically called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. Now, the prostate is a small gland, but when it swells, it presses against the urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the body. Think of it like a garden hose that's being stepped on. The flow weakens. You might feel the urge, but barely anything comes out. Or worse, you finish, but feel like you still need to go. That sense of incomplete emptying, that's one of the earliest and most ignored signs. Men often assume they're just aging, they laugh it off, but your body's not joking. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself standing at the urinal, waiting and waiting for the stream to start? That hesitation, those seconds of delay, are not normal. It's called urinary hesitancy, and while it might feel harmless, it's actually another early sign your prostate may be pressing on the urethra. And if the inflammation continues, the bladder begins to work overtime, forcing urine through that narrowing space. Over time, the bladder muscle can weaken. This sets you up for even more severe issues down the road, like bladder stones, infections, or even damage to the kidneys. Here's where it gets even more dangerous. The seventh sign, the one most men dismiss, is something that seems unrelated: a decrease in sexual function, specifically a reduction in the force of ejaculation, or even painful ejaculation. Now, let's pause here. This isn't just about performance. It's about inflammation. The prostate produces seminal fluid. If it's swollen, the very act of ejaculation can become uncomfortable. Many men are too embarrassed to mention it, or they chalk it up to aging, stress, or relationship issues. But here's the deal. Pain during or after sex can be your prostate's cry for help. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a warning. And the longer inflammation sticks around, the higher your risk of complications. Chronic pain, urinary retention, even increased risk of prostate cancer. No one likes talking about this stuff, but avoiding the conversation doesn't stop the damage. It only gives it more time to grow. Have you ever noticed an increase in urgency? That sudden can't-wait feeling? Or worse, have you ever not made it in time? Accidents happen. But if it's becoming more frequent, or you're constantly feeling like you're rushing to the bathroom, your bladder might be under too much pressure. It's working against resistance. Your prostate is making it harder to hold and harder to release. And every time this happens, it increases wear and tear on your urinary system. Left unchecked, this urgency can lead to overactive bladder, and eventually the bladder can lose its ability to fully empty. That sets the stage for infections. Bacteria thrives in stagnant urine. It's a vicious cycle. And let's not forget one of the most overlooked signs of all: lower back, hip, or pelvic discomfort. Sounds random, right? But when the prostate becomes inflamed, it can trigger pain in surrounding areas. You might think it's a pulled muscle or that you sat too long. But if that ache doesn't go away, or if it worsens when you sit, don't ignore it. The nerves around your prostate connect to the lower back and pelvic region. That dull ache might be more than just tension. It might be inflammation radiating from a swollen gland. Here's a critical one. Have you ever felt like your stream of urine starts and stops? It doesn't flow smoothly. It surges, then weakens, then maybe dribbles at the end. This kind of inconsistent flow is almost always linked to an enlarged prostate. And here's the science behind it. As the prostate grows, it compresses the urethra like a clamp. Pressure builds up in the bladder. When you finally do urinate, the stream starts under force, but quickly loses strength as the bladder tires out. It's not just annoying, it's a red flag. Because the longer this happens, the more you risk damaging the bladder wall. And once that muscle gets weak, it doesn't bounce back. But let's look beyond the symptoms for a moment. Let's talk about what's causing the inflammation in the first place. And here's where things get eye-opening. A lot of the swelling isn't just from aging, it's from lifestyle, diet, chronic low-grade inflammation, poor hydration, too much sugar, lack of exercise. And one of the biggest culprits? A hormone called dihydrotestosterone, DHT. It's a byproduct of testosterone, and in many men, DHT builds up in the prostate, triggering abnormal growth. But here's the catch. You can influence how much DHT your body produces, and that means you have more control than you think. Studies show that reducing refined carbs, avoiding trans fats, and maintaining a healthy weight can all reduce DHT levels naturally. Add in regular exercise, especially strength training, and you boost testosterone while keeping DHT in check. It's a balancing act, and that balance might be the difference between a healthy prostate and one that causes years of suffering. But wait, there's something even more important, something most men never hear: the connection between prostate health and gut health. Your gut microbiome affects inflammation throughout your entire body, including the prostate. If your gut is imbalanced, if you're eating processed foods, drinking too much alcohol, or not getting enough fiber, you could be fueling silent inflammation that lands right in your prostate. But once you clean up your diet, introduce anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, omega-3 fats, and plenty of water, things start to shift. The body calms down, the pressure eases, the signs begin to reverse. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, I've had some of these signs. What do I do? First, don't panic. A swollen prostate doesn't always mean cancer. In fact, most cases of prostate enlargement are benign, but benign doesn't mean harmless. It can still disrupt your life, your sleep, your relationships. That's why the key is early action. Talk to your doctor. Ask for a PSA test. It's simple, it's fast, and it can give you a clear picture of what's going on. Combine that with lifestyle changes, and you might not just stop the swelling, you might reverse it. You solve everything for everyone else. You take care of the house, work, race against time. But what about you? How many times have you put off your health? What starts as a simple symptom can become a chronic problem, but it can also be treated before, with the right guidance. There is a simple and powerful way to give your body the care it's asking for, and it's in the pinned comment. Your health can't wait any longer. Now, let's go even deeper, because what we're about to cover could change the way you think about your body, your habits, and your health for the rest of your life. If the first part opened your eyes to the subtle signs of a swollen prostate, this next part reveals what's happening under the surface and how you can fight back. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood signs: fatigue. Not the kind that comes after a long day or a bad night's sleep. I'm talking about the kind of tired that sticks around no matter how much you rest. That sense of dragging yourself through the day, losing motivation, losing drive. Now, most people never link this to their prostate. But here's what's actually happening. When your body is in a constant state of low-grade inflammation, it's like your immune system never gets to rest. And a chronically inflamed prostate acts like a fire that never goes out. It keeps the immune system on high alert. That burns through your energy reserves. It stresses your adrenal glands. It disrupts your hormones. And before long, you feel like a shadow of your former self. It's not just aging. It's your body crying out for balance. Now, here's something you probably never expected to be on this list: digestive changes. You might think, what does my prostate have to do with my stomach? But the connection is deeper than you think. When the prostate is swollen, it can affect nearby nerves and pressure points in the pelvic region. That can lead to issues like constipation, bloating, or even a frequent feeling of fullness. Plus, let's not forget the role of stress. Chronic inflammation raises cortisol, and cortisol directly disrupts digestion. It slows it down, affects how you absorb nutrients, and alters the rhythm of your gut. So if you've been dealing with both bathroom issues and digestive discomfort, don't dismiss it. Your prostate may be playing a bigger role than you realize. Ever feel pain after sitting for a long time? Maybe you shift around trying to get comfortable. It's not sharp, but it's nagging. That dull ache deep in the pelvis or between the thighs, it doesn't go away, but it's not intense enough to sound an alarm. That's chronic pelvic pain syndrome, and it's often linked to a swollen prostate. Here's the wild part. Even when inflammation is mild, it can irritate the surrounding nerves. And because the prostate sits so close to the pelvic floor, any swelling there can trigger discomfort in places you wouldn't expect. For many men, this pain gets brushed off for months, sometimes years, until it becomes unbearable. But here's the good news. When the inflammation is brought under control, this type of pain often fades or even disappears completely. Let's talk about the emotional toll. Yes, emotional. You're not weak for feeling frustrated, anxious, or even embarrassed. When you're dealing with frequent urination, sleep disruption, discomfort during intimacy, or uncertainty about your health, it wears on you. The constant what-ifs. What if I can't sleep again tonight? What if I have an accident in public? What if it's cancer? These thoughts aren't just stressful. They directly impact your hormone levels, your immune system, even your healing capacity. Chronic stress raises cortisol. High cortisol lowers testosterone. Lower testosterone can worsen prostate symptoms. It's all connected. That's why one of the most powerful tools in protecting your prostate isn't just what you eat or how you move, it's how you manage stress. Now let's get into something most men overlook. Hydration. Sounds too simple, right? But dehydration thickens your urine, making it harder to pass. That puts more strain on your bladder and increases inflammation throughout your urinary tract. The prostate doesn't respond well to that kind of pressure. Most men walk around mildly dehydrated every day and don't even realize it. If you're only drinking water when you feel thirsty, you're probably already behind. And if you're drinking coffee or alcohol regularly, both of which are diuretics, you're losing even more fluids. Upping your water intake can make a significant difference in symptom relief. Aim for clear to pale yellow urine. That's your body's way of saying you're giving it what it needs to flush out toxins and reduce stress on your prostate. Here's another powerhouse strategy. Anti-inflammatory foods, the kind that fight inflammation from the inside out. We're talking about leafy greens, fatty fish like salmon, turmeric, berries, and healthy fats like olive oil and avocado. These aren't just trendy superfoods. Their effects are backed by science. For example, studies show that lycopene, a compound found in cooked tomatoes, may help lower PSA levels and reduce prostate inflammation. Zinc, found in pumpkin seeds, is crucial for hormone balance and prostate health. Omega-3s help reduce systemic inflammation and support healthy cellular function. Every bite you take is either feeding inflammation or fighting it. Make your plate your medicine, and don't forget movement. Not just lifting weights or going for a run. Even a brisk 30-minute walk each day has been shown to lower inflammation markers. Physical activity helps your lymphatic system drain toxins, improves blood flow to the pelvic area, and supports hormone regulation. And here's a little-known benefit. Regular movement can actually reduce DHT levels, the hormone we talked about earlier that fuels prostate growth. Exercise is like a natural switch that turns down the volume on inflammation and turns up your body's ability to heal. Plus, it boosts confidence, mood, and energy. If you're feeling sluggish, don't wait until you feel like moving. Move so that you start feeling better. There's also something you absolutely need to hear. Your prostate health affects your heart. You heard that right. Research shows a direct correlation between BPH and cardiovascular risk. Why? Because the same factors that contribute to one often impact the other. Systemic inflammation, insulin resistance, and poor circulation. If your prostate is inflamed, it might be a warning sign of deeper metabolic issues. Getting your prostate under control could could also protect your heart, your brain, and your long-term vitality. Now, I want to speak to the men who've been silently struggling, the ones who haven't told their doctor, who feel too embarrassed to bring it up. You're not alone. In fact, millions of men are dealing with this right now, and most of them are suffering in silence. But silence doesn't solve anything. Taking action does. This isn't about fear. It's about knowledge. It's about seeing the signs, understanding the signals, and responding with purpose. Here's what I want you to do. First, take inventory. How many of these signs have shown up in your life? Even if it's just 1 or 2, don't wait for all 10 to check off the list. Your body is giving you data. Listen to it. Second, talk to your doctor. Get a PSA test, a digital rectal exam, or a referral to a urologist. Don't put it off. The sooner you know, the more control you have. Third, start today, right now, with one small lifestyle change. Drink more water, cut one processed food. Take a 20-minute walk. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just take the first step. And finally, don't stop here. Your health journey doesn't end with prostate care. It's all connected. Your heart, your brain, your energy, your future. If you found value in this, I've got another video right here that takes everything we just covered and expands it into the next vital piece of your health puzzle. Click it now and let's keep moving forward together.